Let's look at the first problem. It says, it is known that the bottle of collagen has an average of 4 ounce and contents and a standard deviation of 1.13. Random sample 121 bottles is selected. So you need to know what are some information that's provided. So they say it is known that. That means you have information beforehand in terms of the population average as well as the standard deviation 0.13. Okay, and then you also have the sample size, which is 121. Okay, and it is asking what is the expected value of the sample mean. You may remember expected mean is basically asking about the long-term stable average. Okay, so again, this question is asking about average of all the averages. Okay, so you can tell this part of your lecture notes, I have given you that this information, your average of all the averages is basically the population average. So I'm not going to tell you the answer, but I guess the answer is already here. Number 2, it is known that a bottle of collagen, I think it's the same description, the standard deviation of the sample means. Okay, so this is really asking you about the standard error. Okay, it is asking about the standard deviation, all the possible sample means. So don't get confused. So basically, we know that this is this, as you can tell from your lecture notes. Okay, and number 3, our car manufacturer advertised that it is a new ultra green car obtains an average 100 miles per gallon MPG. Consumer advocacy group tested a sample of 20 cars. So you have 20 cars. Okay. Each car was driven on the same distance in a similar condition, and the following results on MPG were recorded. So you basically have about 20 observations here, x1 all the way to x20. You have 20 observations. So you don't have to do anything. It has already calculated things for you. We have a sample average here, standard deviation of the sample, and the sample variance, which is basically the square of your standard deviation. Count is 20, and this is confidence level. So Excel is sort of confusing because this is not actually confidence level. Your confidence level is 95%, right? This quantity right here is not confidence level. That's margin of error that we talk about during the class. So don't get confused. So if you want to know what is the 95% confidence interval for the mean MPG, so again, this is asking confidence interval at alpha over 2 sigma. Okay, so you calculate this, you will have the result for this particular problem. So I think when the alpha is 0.05 and you have z value of 1.96, that is one very commonly used value of z. So you can just multiply z in your standard error, okay, and that will get you margin of error. Wait a second, it has already calculated here, hasn't it? So you can just basically utilize this formula right here, since the margin of error is already given. Okay, so it's basically this, right? And number 4, a car manufacturer advertised that it's in the same description, and let's look at the question. The margin of error of 95% confidence, new green car, the margin of error. Well, talk about that. The margin of error is already given here. But the deal is, if you wish to know how this thing is calculated, again, the margin of error is z over 5 multiplied by your standard error, which is the same with z alpha over 2, this. So if you flip a couple of pages in your lecture notes, it's going to be here, this part. Okay? And number 5, in a bell-shaped data, the percentage of value that is provided plus minus 2 standard deviation Okay, 2 standard deviation. So you can basically look up this right here, 2 standard deviation. You can see that 2 standard deviation is right here. You can tell that within 2 standard deviation, you have about 95%. So which in this case, this will be your answer. Okay, so I hope everything makes sense to you, and at least you need to be able to calculate those quantities based on the formula. I hope as we do more problems in this area, you'll get more comfortable with these. Okay, thank you.